Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. My name is Terry Shelley. I am the Client Success Manager here at FireAvert. I am joined with our webinar guru behind the camera, Stephen. Today we are going to walk through our leak sensors, the Pro Dashboard, how we can assess the information that we're getting with the leak sensors, and some of the best practices to understand where the leak is coming from. But first, let's talk about what our leak sensor is. It is this small device. It's got a mounting flat on the back, but it is battery operated. It's also got these two prongs. This is where it registers water. Now these prongs are completely sensitive to just a drop of water. The FireAvert device is not going to tell you the flow of the leak or the origination of the leak, but we do want to make sure that you are getting that notification for many reasons. Small leaks can cause big damage over time. Just wait till I tell you the story when we show you where to install. One of the things that we want to show you though is how this looks on your dashboard. So we're going to do a quick demo. Now your normal default time for leak sensors is when prongs get wet, it starts a timer of 10 minutes. If the prongs are still wet after 10 minutes, that's when the leak gets sent, the leak event notice or alert gets sent to you. So for today's demonstration, Stephen is going to pull up that dashboard and kind of show you what that looks like. But just know we have reduced that time down so we can save you some time. All right, so I've got a cup of water here. I am going to drop the sensor in and it is going to register on the dashboard within 1 minute that it is wet. So even if I pull it out, you can see that they've got droplets on these prongs. Do you see those droplets? Maybe if I move it a little bit. Okay. So now the timer has started and it will register for 10 minutes if this is still wet, and then it will send you that alert. But if in that 10 minutes it does populate as dry, let's say somebody spilled a glass of water or they're mopping the bathroom, something like that that takes an event that could possibly trigger an alert, and it shows dried out, that will come through as dry and you will not get the alert. We have configured that 10-minute time mark over an average of what it takes for a normal instance to have a dry out moment. We just want to make sure that, sorry, it's still wet because I dropped it in the bucket of water. Okay, perfect. It's now showing as dry. And that's essentially how our leak sensor works. So you do have that default time for 10 minutes, so you don't get a ton of alerts, but you will in the first 30 days of having these installed get alerts. Now, if you are joining this webinar and you don't already have leak sensors, I want to just run through kind of the locations that we have seen other properties put them in. So if you want to do and purchase some of these leak sensors because you have some water damage concerns, please kind of follow along. We're going to put you on a brief pause as we move the camera around so you don't have to watch us jostle, so to speak. So give us just one moment. I'm still here. I want to say, as we go through this webinar, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat. We want this to be a live Q&A event. We want to answer those questions as they come in. Okay, I'm still here. I know it still shows standby, but one of the first places that we want to showcase to you, is the bathroom. That is where the biggest concerns of leaks happen. So we have seen people install them under bathroom sinks as well as behind toilets. But here's the story that I hope you guys have all been waiting for. You definitely want to have something maybe in front of a shower or a bathtub. The reason being, when I was first married and had a baby, I was giving her a bath in the bathtub, and all of a sudden the floor gave out from under me. I grabbed onto the bathtub, holding on for dear life. My feet were dangling in the unit below, and the residents of the unit below came and pushed me back up. I was able to get my baby out of the bathtub. Well, she was more like 1, but get her out of the bathtub, get her dry. The maintenance team came. We were routed to a bathroom across the hall for a week while they did some repairs. The plumber let me know that that had been a slow leak. It wasn't under the tub. It was literally just the seal between the tile and the tub wasn't sealed. So anytime water splashed, it would just go down into that subfloor and cause slow rot over time. The other place that we want to maybe look at installing these is under a kitchen sink. Anywhere underneath that you think water would be dripping, and a back corner, piping, anything like that. Or we could put it under a dishwasher. Now, with our sensors, remember I told you that they are battery operated. So we do want to make sure that wherever you install this, you can access this little panel to change out those batteries as needed. The other place is if you have refrigerators that have a water line to them, you may want to put something behind a fridge. Or if you have a common area with something like this drinking fountain, that may be another option. Other places that we've seen them installed is also near water heaters as well as washers, sometimes maybe HVAC systems as well. All right, so now what happens when you get the alert? We want to talk about responding to alert, what that looks like. So we are going to jump to the Pro Dashboard to kind of go over those things. We have those best practices of questions to ask, what to do when you receive alert. So stand by one more time as we pull up that dashboard for you. Welcome back. Okay, so let's talk about what it looks like when it comes to your Pro Dashboard. So you're going to get notification that leaks have been detected. So we want to know where those leaks have been detected, right? So we're going to pull this up. We want to take a look. Let's take a look at this unit right here. So sorry, technical difficulties. Give me just one moment. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right. So we want to look at what's going on in this property. So we're seeing a ton of leaks in the kitchen sink, right? So at 404, 421, 541, this is an active leak that we definitely want to investigate. But let's say, just for hypothetical situations, that we talk about if it's just a leak and it dries out. So remember when I told you we have that default time of 10 minutes before you receive an alert. Is somebody cleaning a kitchen underneath or wiping something, a spill underneath a dishwasher, for example, and it registers as wet, but it dries out and they've cleaned it up, they've done their due diligence, there's no resting water. We found over the average time that 10 minutes is a good solid time frame for a leak to be cleaned up if it's just sort of environmental, right? So this leak is a little bit concerning because it's consistently showing wet over and over and over again. But we've had properties that show a leak in the kitchen sink. And so one of the best practices that we want to do when you first start to get those Pro Dashboard alerts is to communicate with the resident. Were they cooking or using the kitchen sink when the leak sensor came through, or leak alert came through? Had someone recently showered with a bathroom leak? Was the bathroom being cleaned? Was the washing machine running? Was there a spill of any kind? And did they notice any active water or plumbing problems? Then we want to respond to that alert. We want to inspect the area when appropriate and determine whether there is an active leak or another source of water. Funny story, we had a property that had a leak under a kitchen sink, and every time they went, they would check the pipes, they would dry it out. There was nothing that they found until they moved a few things under the sink and found a puddle of cleaning solution. She had a slow leak in one of her cleaning bottles that was just running to where the leak sensor had been placed. So they were able to stop that. The leak alert stopped, right? Another property that we had only got leak alerts in the kitchen at certain times. It wasn't consistent, but by communicating with the resident, they were able to determine the behavior of when the leak sensor was active was when she was filling up the sink doing dishes, and she would release that stop and let that big gush of water come through. Then there was an improper seal, and that's the only time that the leak was generated. So they were able to figure that out. Next, we want to address any water in the area, dry the sensor completely, and return it back to its position. Make sure the batteries are still good with that blinking green light. Want to monitor the sensor for like the next 24 hours. Does everything happen at the same time during the day? Is there something else going on that we maybe want to take a look at? So with these, let's go to a different unit. Okay. So this one shows that they have a leak event at 2:07 in the kitchen, 6:27, and 5:06. That tells us, with the information that we have, that we want to look at what's happening on these properties at those times. Is she cleaning up breakfast? It looks like it. Is she cleaning up a lunch and dinner? We want to understand what's taking place, and that communication is pivotal in figuring out what is happening. If another alert is received within 24 hours, we want to make sure that we understand what is happening in that unit. And if we realize it dries out on its own and doesn't really do anything until the next time that they're using the sink, we of course want to investigate what is happening. But more importantly, we can customize what is taking place in this unit. So we want to edit this unit details, scroll down to your leak sensors. The one under the kitchen sink is set to default for 10 minutes. Do we want to up it to 12 minutes? Because it's obviously drying out in between those. Of course, we want to take care of that leak, but we can customize these. We have another property where they have a cleaning staff that comes in and cleans the bathrooms for their residents. They were getting a ton of leak alerts for those bathrooms, and they figured out really quickly that it was their cleaning staff was mopping those floors, and they were mopping them in a way that left resting water on those for over 10 minutes. They were able to educate their cleaning staff, but we also customized their leak sensor alert times for those bathroom sensors in those units to 20 minutes. They've reduced their alerts for those, I would say, by over 45%. All right, sensor timing is customized to reduce alerts caused by normal environmental conditions while maintaining a reliable detection of potential leaks. Our goal is not simply to reduce the number of alerts. The goal is to make sure the alerts your team receives are useful and actionable. So at the end of those 30 days, as you start to understand what your property is doing, then you have the opportunity to customize that. If you want to have some help to kind of navigate that, please reach out to us. We're happy to jump on a call and kind of look at that with you. So before we close this quick 15-minute webinar, I just want to kind of talk about the best practices. 1, communication with our residents are pivotal. 2, placement of those devices can help really save money over time. Our leak sensors are a great add to property protection. We also want to make sure we change out those batteries. If you go in and change out those smoke alarm batteries, change out your water sensor batteries as well, just to make sure that everything is running and functioning for your property. The last thing we want to do is we can customize. Now, I recommend that we don't do big jumps in that customization, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, until you hit that top. Like, we don't want to set it for over this many minutes because then we're concerned about water damage. We need to investigate what's really going on. But the more communication you have with your residents, the safer your property is from water damage. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear them now. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, if you want to know more about what's going on or customizing those leak sensors in your property, please reach out to us. We're happy to help.